Aston Villa Football Club, 18 games unbeaten at home after beating Tottenham 2-0 in the Premier League last night in the penultimate game of the season and the last game at Villa Park. And this sets up a very interesting last game of the season for Villa, having to go to Old Trafford to get a result against Manchester United and hope all the other stars align. However, things may look rosy on the pitch. Off the pitch, it seems a different matter, as it seems players started to reveal the truth of their future at Aston Villa. Emi Martinez, Leon Bailey, it was clear. Those players looked set to leave, and that was their last ever game at Villa Park. This was then backed up and confirmed by Fabrizio Romano this morning. So we're going to break into this story. I'm going to give you all the details and the emerging news as well about Jonathan David. So do not go anywhere. But before we do go further into this story, please smash a like on this video. 100 likes would be greatly appreciated. Subscribe to the channel if you're new for all Aston Villa content. And get in the comment section your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions on the stories that we're covering today. I would love to read them and I'll make sure I interact with you. So, Emi Martinez. I've had people telling me he won't leave. We don't lose DB. We don't lose our world number one. Why would Emi leave? All these people over the last couple of weeks have said that to me, and I understand where they've come from. I understand why people may have said that. Because why would Aston Villa want to get rid of a very valuable asset? Not just financially, but also because of what he brings to the team. Yes, he's had a little bit of a wobbly season. Yes, he hasn't performed to the shot-stopping levels of his past tenure at Aston Villa. But everyone knows that Emi Martinez brings such stature, saves points for Aston Villa, and quite frankly, is a mentality monster. However, as soon as I saw Aston Villa was scouting Espanyol goalkeeper John Garcia, and basically we were all over him, it was clear that this guy wasn't coming to Aston Villa as a number two. He was coming as a number one spot. And that for me is where I knew we were saying bye to Emi Martinez. Now, stories broke and were merged about Emi leaving for Saudi Arabia a couple of weeks ago. However, after the scenes last night, take a look at this. Fabrizio Romano has said Emi Martinez will assess all the options also from Europe after Saudi Pro League clubs approaches, as he's expected to leave Aston Villa. Villa are among several clubs showing interest in John Garcia. Open race ahead. Okay, so Fabrizio Romano confirming that not only is it the Saudi Pro League, but he's also got concrete European options. Now, there are a few teams that scream out to me that are looking for a new world number one, a shot stopper. You've got the likes of Barcelona have had to rely on Wojciech Szczesny this season because of Ter Stegen's injury, and there potentially is an option there. You've also got in Bayern Munich someone searching for a goalkeeper, as well as the Milan clubs as well. There could be a potential recycle in that. Now, Emi has a decision to make. You go to the Saudi Pro League, not for footballing reasons, but for financial, or you're going to a club to try and win the Champions League. You're going to another club to win the Champions League. That's the only reason I can imagine why Emi Martinez would want to leave Villa. And I know that people could sit there and go, but Villa could be that club one day, and I completely get that. But right now, we are not in a position to do that for Emi Martinez. He's looking at his age, he's looking at his career, and he's looking at the offers that are given to him. And sometimes there may be that one club, that one special club, who've come in, knocked on his door, and completely turned his head for a new challenge. Now, as I've said, Saudi Arabia seems the more likely situation. But what was probably more heartbreaking, as I said, is Fabrizio has confirmed that he is basically leaving, was the images and pictures that we saw of Emi last night. Take a look at this one. This is a man who clearly does not want to leave. And it almost was a bittersweet ending for the game yesterday. Have a look at that picture. Emi Martinez in tears. I'm sure that's done the works, the rounds. But that is a man who clearly is showing to the fan base that he's going to miss it, and he will never step foot at Villa Park again. A really hard sight, really, as I said, because we've just done an incredible job of beating Tottenham 2-0. Emi's just kept a clean sheet. Villa are one game away from hopefully getting into the Champions League. But players are not robots, they're humans. And having these breakdown of emotions is quite natural. And Unai Emery has basically had to come out in interviews and cover this situation up. He's had to basically say, I'm not sure, we'll assess, we're focusing on the game. We know that Emi Martinez in those tears is a real indicator of that he is leaving. And for me, the rumours have come out of recent times that Aston Villa are looking to sell a big player before the 30th of June to comply with PSR. World number one, Emi Martinez, goalkeeper, big player, big value, Saudi Arabia. Maybe he's the guy who's going. So, look, if there's anyone who still thinks anything different about Emi leaving, then please let me know in the comments. Is that just a sign of emotion that he's overwhelmed from all the transfer speculation? Do you think that's potentially that he hasn't made up his mind yet and he's got a big decision to weigh? Or is it done and dusted? Is he Saudi bound? Let me know your thoughts, your feelings, and emotions on that one. Because look, as I said, as soon as I knew we were in for Joan Garcia, it was obvious. It's obvious that Emi's leaving for me, and that showed last night. Now, Leon Bailey, there's not been any stories about Leon Bailey last night, but he was also very overwhelmed. He had a break. He was wiping his eyes when he came on the pitch as a sub. Yeah, that was what the camera. And during the watch along, I looked at that and thought, "Oh, is he got something in his eye?" Genuine, seen tears. And then at the final whistle, there's a video emerging of again Leon Bailey breaking down on the pitch, crouching down. The rest of the players are there, and Leon's taking it in. Two players who definitely seem like they're leaving Aston Villa. So Fabrizio Romano has confirmed that. I think we all know it. Now let's go on to the next story, which is Jonathan David. Now this one is tasty. This is one of the most popular number nines in world football right now. And I'll tell you why. It's because everyone is dying out for one of these. You've got the likes of Sesko, Gyökeres, Jonathan David, and I'll actually probably add Ollie Watkins into this conversation of potential number nines who people are going to look at. Now, it says here, Jonathan David is in talks with several European clubs over a free transfer. Villa, Tottenham, Juve, and Napoli. Wow. Certainly very tasty proposition there. Jonathan David, of course, is playing football in Lille in France, and that's why L'Equipe has reported this story. Yet he seems someone who is available on a free transfer. On Aston Villa, poised, ready, positioned, over Tottenham, 100%. 100%. Unless Tottenham win the Europa League and qualify for the Champions League, I think Aston Villa are in pole position to sign Jonathan David, which also then will spark up the Ollie Watkins situation. And as you can see, this is a very interesting transfer rumour and mill. And Fabrizio even sort of said it. Villa are in for a busy summer. We've got big negotiations with the Joan Garcia now, trying to secure him. If we go and look for a number 9 in Jonathan David on a free, will Ollie Watkins stay? Will he go? We know that Ollie has basically revelled and thrived in being the main number 9 for Aston Villa. John Duran has tried to dismantle him, hasn't worked out. And so whether another number 9 comes in Jonathan David, we'll have to wait and see. But a player of Jonathan David's calibre, his goal-scoring abilities, the global hype that he has, and teams like Juve and Napoli in for him, massive, massive proposition here for Aston Villa. So with one leaving in Emi Martinez and a good player in Jonathan David coming in, it is very much different off the pitch. There's a lot of mess off the pitch in terms of transfers. Villa fans know they need to buckle up. Villa fans know that we're in for a rocky ride. And Villa fans certainly know that this is going to be one unexpected summer transfer window coming up. All eyes will be on Old Trafford next week. But mark my words, these players are starting to show the future of Villa. Emi Martinez and Leon Bailey have let the mask slip. And we are now, as a fan base and as creators, seeing this and must talk on it. So, Jonathan David, as I said, that is very much speculation right now. He is available on a free transfer, though, and we are one of the 4 clubs speculated to be in talks with him. Would you take Jonathan David? Would you expect him to be the main number 9 if he comes in? And would you see Ollie Watkins departing? Or do you see it as Ollie Watkins and Jonathan David will be in the same Aston Villa squad? There was a great interview the other day where Ollie Watkins, if you basically translated it, is basically saying, I'm going nowhere. I love playing for Villa. I want to play in the highest competitions and I want to win something with them. Ollie Watkins is coming out and saying the right things now. Despite all these journalists trying to sell him and push him away, he's saying the right things. So, Fabrizio has revealed what we thought about Emi. L'Equipe has come in about Jonathan David. Those are some of the major transfer rumours that are coming forward today. Big up to everyone. Get your thoughts in, get your comments in, and appreciate all your support. Smash a like on the way out. I'm out of here, people. Ta